Hey everybody, Derek here. We're going to take a look at the news for the 28th of June to the 4th of July 2021. So, kind of main story, there was a bit of a Twitter tirade or shenanigans this week, basically around how Sony deals with indie developers. So the first story was that Sony charges at a minimum $25,000 to be featured on their store. And that's a minimum. It can go upwards up to 200k. This story here is from independent games publisher Ian Garner of Neon Doctrine. He's basically saying Sony don't give a shit about indies, which isn't, he's not incorrect. He goes on to stories here to basically say that if Sony doesn't like your game, there's like no fanfare, there's no featuring. How much the game actually appears on the store is based entirely on the platform holder's own evaluation, so what Sony thinks of your product more than what you would actually like it to what you would like it to think of it, I guess. And that's fine, I guess, but the real issue is that the whole evaluation process is completely opaque. Sony do not tell indie developers how they're evaluating it or what value they ascribe to the game and so on. It's just left completely blank. He goes on to mention some stuff about the compliance checking thing, saying it's incredibly difficult. When I did compliance check testing for games, Sony were one of the most lenient, to be honest, of all of them, with Microsoft probably being the worst. But I guess that's probably more for TCR stuff, which would be like trademarks appearing in games. Like when you see the word PlayStation, does it have the little registered logo thing beside it? Do the buttons all look correct? Are you using the correct colors for the square button and so on? This is probably more like making sure that it works on the various different stores and back-end stuff, which is probably more of a pain in the hole. There's also mention of a lot of different hoops they need to jump through, like a bunch of social media shit. They need to make a specific trailer for PlayStation, and you will see that at the different events. Like Microsoft will have trailers for games, and it will say coming to like Xbox or whatever, and it won't have PlayStation or Nintendo on it, even though the game is coming to PlayStation and Nintendo. So it's not like Sony are the only ones doing that kind of thing. And it is mentioned in the article that it's not just Sony who does this shit, but Sony are like the worst for it, mostly because they just don't communicate, whereas the other platform holders do. Something I wanted to point out. Oh yeah. So you can get around this whole thing of not being able to set your own discounts, not being able to opt into sales, getting yourself promoted on the store or whatever. You can opt out of all of it by just giving them money. Just throw money at them. Now, that's obviously that's a thing from like a marketing standpoint, from a money-making standpoint. I find it unlikely any of the other stores don't also do this. But it definitely does disadvantage game publishers and game studios who don't have that kind of budget. They're on like a small budget. It's a small game. It's like maybe one or two people like actually developing the game. They can't afford to spend $25,000 to $200,000 just to get their game featured for a couple of days, like a weekend or whatever. Now it is mentioned that Switch and Xbox and Steam all have this kind of thing as well, where you can pay money to be featured, but they also have options, free options available. Like they'll be bundled into a new releases list, or they'll be bundled into a discover list. If you like have a discount going, you'll be put into that. You'll be featured in different ways to say like here's an indies list or whatever. If you've been on the PlayStation Store lately, you'll notice you can't fucking find anything unless you already know the name of it, or unless it's a first party game. Like the PlayStation 5 store anyway is trash. It's so bad. I fucking hate it. If you need to find anything that's been newly released, unless you know the name of the game. Its filtering system is crap. If you need to find a game that has been out a while and it's not a big budget AAA thing, you would need to know what it's called. Like, you would need to search for it. It's not going to come up in a list. Like, the PlayStation Store doesn't have those kind of things. Now, this story is focusing mostly around the 25k thing, but there's a bigger one, or sorry, like a more involved story is like a follow-up to that, which is to basically say that Xbox and Switch, while they also have this payola thing of give us money and we'll make your game more prominent, they also have those free options of here's a list of games, or here's a tab specifically for indies, or this game is on discount right now, or something like that. Sony don't have that. Also, Switch and Steam allow developers to actually discount their games themselves. Like, they can just say, we're going to take a tenner off it like this week, or we'll take 50% off it this week, or whatever. Sony don't allow that. Sony basically say, if you want to be in this, or sorry, Sony will invite you to be in the sale. So you can't even say, I want to be in the sale. You can't opt into it. It's, no, we're going to invite you in, but if you want to be in it, it's a 50% cut. The developer's like, that's a bit hard, particularly since there's only a 10% cut on Switch, or it's only a 25% cut on Xbox, so now you're kind of fucking with our pricing structure here, because we want to keep a stable price. And Sony are like, no, 50%, fuck you. A lot of this article is a really good one, you should read into it, but it's basically it's basically summing up that Sony is not a great place for indies, despite all their marketing around it. It's trying to say that, yes, we're the best place for it. They're not, clearly. It seems like Switch and Steam are probably the best place for indies. There's people who kind of release their numbers to basically say the vast majority of our sales are on Steam or Switch. And then after that, mostly Xbox. And then after that, like, fractional on PlayStation, which is not good. It's not a good look for Sony. They've definitely been accused lately of focusing mostly on their own first-party big blockbuster games, not releasing a lot of games, not releasing many small or experimental games or non-sure thing games, which is not a good look. It's not positioning themselves well, in my opinion. And we all know, I think, if you've watched a couple of these weekly news recaps, anytime Sony comes up, I almost always attribute it to Jim Ryan. And to be honest, when Joost was in charge of Sony, they didn't have these issues, or at least they weren't as prominent. Maybe they did have them, but it didn't seem like they were as prominent. But as soon as the upper management moved over to the US, it seems like this shit started happening. At least that is my perception of it. There's a good thing here at the very bottom of the article where he goes on to say that Switch has a lot of great places to be featured. You're in new releases, or you're in the deals, or you're in like the indie list or the Discover tab because you have a discount going. It's not amazing, but at least they have good discovery methods. Now try going on the PlayStation Store and finding a specific game without searching for it. Without searching, like specifically typing in the name of the game. Even then, it doesn't come up sometimes. Like, it seems like at the root of all this is Sony don't communicate. They're very standoffish versus Xbox, Switch, Steam. They're kind of they have people there to help you get through, whereas Sony don't have that. And then the other issue is the PlayStation Store itself is not set up well. It's terrible. It was something. I wasn't running these stories. I wasn't doing these videos at the time, but it's definitely some stuff I mentioned on Twitter or in other videos that when the PS5 launched, I thought the store was crap. And it has not gotten any better. It just does not have good visibility for smaller games or like niche titles or indie development titles or anything like that. It's only like big budget games from big publishers. There seems to be the only thing that you ever actually see. If you want to go find, if you want to discover games. Now I'm deep enough into like video game releases or not that I pretty much know when a game I want to play is out, and I can go find it, or I know that there's a game I'm interested in, and if I don't get it right away, at least I know what it's called and I can go look for it. But if you were someone who was just looking for a game, you didn't know anything about it, you were just, I'd like to play a small platformy type game, you know, I'll go onto the PlayStation Store, see if I can find that. Get fucked. You're not gonna find anything, and it's just really bad. It needs more than what it's got here. Like the tabs at the top are largely useless. The only one I've ever used is the browse tab, and even then I heavily filter it so I can find the thing I actually want. Using the search function is hit or miss on release day because sometimes the search listing hasn't been updated. It's just not good. Anyway, I think a lot of this could be fixed by just fucking redoing the store, honestly. Anyway, so some updates during the week. So there was a video to show off Kazuya for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but a bunch of other stuff came out there, knowing that Challenger Pack 11, whenever it does get released, is definitely de facto the very last character that's going to be added. No more characters for Super Smash Ultimate, and Sakurai will probably take a massive holiday once it's gone. And also, next iterations of Super Smash probably won't have all these characters. You know, it'll probably be a much smaller game. One thing I wanted to point out in this, though, is that there was some massive monkey paw wish shit for the character I really wanted in Super Smash. So, releasing alongside Kazuya as paid Mii fighters, Shantae, Lloyd, the Dragonborn from Skyrim, and Dante. Oh, I wanted him at Smash, but not like this. Not like this. Sad. Very, very sad. Obviously, he won't be Challenger 11 now, so I'm gonna have to roll back and say 2B from Nier, but probably not. I don't know who Challenger 11 will be. They'll have to be, since it's the last one, I imagine they'll want to go out with a bang, but I think they'd also want it to be somebody like completely out of left field, so no idea. Oh wait, yeah, I kind of want it to be 2B, but I doubt it, because Nier isn't even on the Switch, so probably not. Sony announced, or Sucker Punch announced, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, which is coming to PS5 and PS4 on August 20th. So the Director's Cut will add a new island, Iki Island, which will just more story and more Jinsakai shenanigans, samurai shenanigans running about the place. There's not a whole lot of information, to be honest. There's some improvements. Iki Island will show off a bunch of stuff. There's a trailer out there to show off some stuff. Why won't this play properly? Why won't you play properly? This won't let me skip. That's annoying. I don't think this trailer doesn't actually show off Iki Island. I think was the thing why I didn't bother going with it. But it's a new area. It's available about halfway through the game if you're playing from the start. There's also a bunch of other additions, like, as it came up in that trailer, haptic feedback, 4K resolution, that kind of thing. Ghost of Tsushima plays really well on PS5, actually. It almost feels like it's a PS5 game. So I really, really liked it. I'm really looking forward to playing it again. Hopefully for the channel this time. I think it's a game that will play really well on that. I don't like the pricing point for it, though, to be honest. It's here. So it's $20 to upgrade if you're on PS4. So it'd go from the regular edition to the Director's Cut. It's $20. That's a bit pricey, honestly, and it gets worse, because if you're going from PS4 to PS5 Director's Cut, it's $30. Why the extra tenner? Why the extra tenner? Why? Well, what's different? What's different in the delivery process? I'm still downloading it. There's no change. I don't understand. It's literally an extra dollars because it says PS5 and not PS4. What is that? They just keep adding a tenner for every new generation of console. Like, there's gonna be $100, and there are $100 games already, but they're deluxe, super mega, silver, platinum edition or whatever. But pretty soon it's gonna be this, like, if it's a tenner every generation, there's €70 games now. So the PS8 will be €80. No, I didn't do that right. The PS6 will be €80. The PS7 will be €90. So the PS8, if we ever get that far. Fuck's sake. Anyway. Probably waiting a sale, honestly. Okay, new releases this week. Not many, to be honest. So we're going to look at, since it's the start of the month, we'll look at the monthly game packages that PlayStation and Xbox have. So for PlayStation, we're looking at Plague Tale Innocence for PS5 and only PS5. So fuck you if you have a PS4, I guess, even though the game is on PS4, but whatever. Plague Tale Innocence is getting a bunch of PS5 and Series XS updates this month. So it's like improved frame rate, improved resolution, and a couple of other things. And free for PS5 owners. Although, reminder, you do not need to own a PS5 to redeem the game. So you can still get it. You just have to go to the web store to do it. And then if you do ever end up getting a PS5, you'll be able to, and still have PlayStation Plus, you'll be able to play it. On PS4, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, 4? Yes, 4. Hang on, where's the text? I assume it's 4, yeah, okay. COD Blaps 4. I kind of feel like if you're already into COD, you probably already have this, but whatever, it's there. I have no interest. And then WWE Battlegrounds, which looks like trash and plays like trash. Sorry, I'm reading the disclaimer text. PS5 console only, benefit not applicable for a Plague Tale Innocence of PS4. So that's just saying that you can't redeem it on the PS4 console, but you can still redeem it on the web store. So go do that if you really want it, obviously. Should also point out, on the channel, I have been meaning to get back to doing LPs, and A Plague Tale was one of the ones I was thinking of doing to get back into it, because it's pretty heavily story focused, so it's an easy enough one to do LPs for, because it's broken up into chapters, so they naturally break themselves up into videos, kind of thing. You know, I kind of like that compartmentalized thing of it. Plus, when it's a heavy story focus, I can riff on it. It's much easier. As like open-ended games, it's not as simple. But yeah, look for that on the channel soon. I was planning on doing it earlier until I heard the rumors about them doing remasters and upgrades, whatever, for the game. So I was waiting for that, and now it'll be out, or not. Well, not now, but Tuesday of this week they'll be out. So hopefully you'll see the first video probably the week after, and onwards from there, hopefully. Games with gold, we've got Planet Alpha, never heard of. Rock of Ages, which I think is like a puzzly type thing. I think it's like Super Monkey Ball, but with a rock, I guess. Got Conquer Reloaded, which is a sort of irreverent old school platformy game. And then Midway Arcade Origins, which is a bunch of old Midway arcade games. So Games with Gold not great for July. Planet Alpha, I think, is some kind of survival-y type game. And I think Subnautica was on Games with Gold last month, wasn't it? Or maybe it was Game Pass. I forget. But it's same idea, I guess. And I think Ark is free. Ark Survival is free on Game Pass too. I don't know. Anyway, that's for that. And the only actual new release that I've had any interest in is Doki Doki Literature Club, which I haven't played, but I've heard is fucked up. So some stuff for the Plus edition. It's basically just like trigger warnings and stuff. I think it's just they just added a bunch of that stuff, or content warnings rather, because despite the game looking kind of nice and cute and being a sort of dating sim or whatever, the unspeakable horrors of the club. But yeah, there's some fucked up shit in this game. Anyway, I've heard a lot about it and I'm interested to play it. I just haven't got around to playing it. But it's out on console now, so I might give it a look. And you can too, I guess. Okay, time for the shit part of the video, but it's somewhat my favorite part, but I also get, or I'm very much aware that I get very angry about these kind of things anyway. So nothing really to get angry about here. This is kind of, I kind of thought PlayStation owned them already, but okay. PlayStation bought Housemarque. So if you're not familiar with the name, you might be familiar with the game. Housemarque are the people behind Returnal. Okay, I was gonna try to mouse over the thing, but I can't. Anyway. And there's a kind of thing here about how great it is that Housemarque have joined the team. I was kind of expecting, to be honest, I thought already kind of consider them a first party developer, even though they're not, because their games have appeared in other places. But they've always, since the PS3, I think, they've kind of had a game to go with the PlayStation launch. So on PS3, it was Super Stardust. And then when they eventually kind of backported trophies, Super Stardust was one of the first games to get trophies as well. For the PS Vita, Super Stardust Delta was a launch title, and the PS4 Resogun was a launch title. All three of them were really good games. Arcade twin stick shooters, very, very good. I really, really love those games. And then PS5, while not exactly a launch title, but hardly anybody has a PS5, so you could kind of call it a launch title, I guess. Returnal, which is doing really well for them. I haven't played much of it, which is why you see Returnal on the side of the video so often. So I've been meaning to make that the next video. I just have not had enough time to get to grips with it long enough that I can do a proper video of it, because I die too much. And it's only because I'm on and off the game. I think if I was mainlining it, if it was my main game, I would have more to do with it, so I just have to do that. But anyway, Sony have bought Housemarque, and then they've also bought Nixxes. I don't know, why is this image so low res? Anyway, so you may not be familiar with Nixxes, mostly because they don't make their own games. They port to PC. So games they have ported in the past, they've done a lot of Square Enix's stuff. The Tomb Raider reboot series, the Deus Ex reboot series, I guess. Is Deus Ex a reboot, or is it just kind of a prequel? Because it's set before the main entries in the game. Sorry, not the main entries in the game. It's set before the original entries of the game. So I guess it's a prequel, somewhat reboot kind of thing. The Hitman reboot, the Thief reboot. Wow, that's a lot of reboots. And then the Legacy of Kain reboot? No, they didn't reboot Legacy of Kain. Fuck you, Square. Why can't you just reboot that? Why can't you just do it? Just do it. And then recently, Marvel's Avengers. Anyway, it seems like guess they're not working with Square Enix anymore because PlayStation have bought them. And there has been news recently, and PlayStation have recently ported a lot of their first-party IPs to PC. Not a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. It's 3. 3 isn't a lot. Death Stranding. Actually, Death Stranding's not even a first-party title. It's not. Because Kojima is independent, but they just had a deal. Exclusive, maybe, is probably a better way to say it. Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn, which actually is the first party thing because Guerrilla are PlayStation owned, and Days Gone, which is Sony Ben Studio, which is, see, it has the name Sony in it, so yeah, that's PlayStation title as well. So more acquisitions. There's also a deleted tweet now, but there's a similar welcome to the family thing for PlayStation and Bluepoint games, but that has been deleted, so I don't know, maybe that hasn't been finalized or something. Bluepoint games you may also know as the guys who remade a lot of, why do I keep saying a lot? Because they don't. They did a lot of remasters and they've done a couple of remakes. They did the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and they did the Demon Souls remake, which I don't know, a lot of people didn't like, but I really liked it. Maybe because I didn't play the original, I guess. I don't know. I really liked it, and I liked the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and they did a lot of remasters before that. Anyway, that tweet was deleted, so we don't know what's going on there. It's probably that they haven't actually signed anything yet. Maybe that's all it was. Konami and Bloober Team announce a cooperation agreement, so there's not an acquisition here. This is more like, we're going to pay you to work on a game. And while it's not confirmed that it's Silent Hill, it's a horror IP from Konami, and as far as I'm aware, they've only got the one. So it's probably Silent Hill. So the rest of the article is basically just Konami saying, we're looking forward to working with them, and Bloober Team going, yeah, we're also looking forward to working with them. Elsewhere in the article, it's also mentioned that Konami have actually outsourced the Silent Hill title to a Japanese developer already. So it might be that they're just trying to get maybe 2 games out. I don't know. The Western developed Silent Hill games in the past have not been great. Some have been, like, the best ones have been okay, and the worst ones have been utter shit. So we'll see how that goes. Bloober Team, they're not a great fit, in my opinion. Like, the medium, now I haven't played the medium because it's on Xbox, but I've watched a couple of LPs of it. It doesn't look great. Sorry, that's not, I don't mean graphically, I mean like it doesn't seem like a great game to me. Layers of Fear is very jump scary, which is not it's not really Silent Hill's deal. So, and the Blair Witch game has actually a lot of performance issues, so yeah, this isn't like, yeah, we're getting a new Silent Hill game maybe, but also it's by a developer that maybe isn't a great fit for it. So more monkey paw curling here. Yay, Silent Hill game. It's by Bloober Team. Oh. Okay, maybe. Okay. So there's a couple. What did I want to say here? Yeah, more studio stuff. So not an acquisition this time. This is a new studio being made that doesn't have a name yet. But Casey Hudson, former BioWare boss and a creative director on the Mass Effect trilogy, has opened his own studio that doesn't have a name yet, and they don't have anything they can say about it. That's basically what this quote is. We're working on a new IP, and that's about it. That's all they can say. Casey Hudson worked at BioWare, just working on the original Mass Effect trilogy. Then he left for a bit. I think it was just a sabbatical. I don't know if he went to a different studio. I feel like he went to a different studio, but I forget who it was. But he was originally tasked with Knights of the Old Republic, and then working on the Mass Effect trilogy. Then he took a break. Oh, it's here, sorry. He's working on the HoloLens project, so you know, who knows what's happening with that. Came back to BioWare to work on Anthem, to just get it shipped, I think. You think he had a reputation for just getting shit out the door. Anthem had been obviously languishing for quite some time, and even when it did release, it didn't release in a great state. But you know what? They got it out the door. And he is largely credited with getting this is what this quote is basically. It's largely credited with getting the Legendary Edition, the trilogy remake, the Mass Effect trilogy remake. not remake, remaster, out the door. Which is, again, was the thing, because they had been working on that or working up to it for a really long time. And that just seemed to be an issue with BioWare at the time, even in and around the time of Anthem as well, is that they just had trouble getting things done. Like, just getting somebody to just crack the whip, basically, and just get it done. Which is why he was brought, as I said, which is why he was brought back in for Anthem. And I guess he did the same for the Legendary Edition. Anyway, he's working on something. Who knows what it'll be. Mass Effect Trilogy, while it didn't end well, like Mass Effect 3 isn't great, but and the ending obviously has had numerous internet discord about. The games themselves were fun, so I am looking forward to see what he does with it. And Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorite games, so yeah, I will be watching his career with great interest. Okay, so news. A good while ago on Sony shutting down the handheld stores, the PSP, the PS Vita, the PS3 store. Then they did a U-turn and they said, no, we won't do that, because literally everyone said that was a bad idea, so we won't do that. They are still, this news story is saying, they are still shutting down the PSP store, which happens today, and that was the 2nd of July, so Friday. They're still going to shut that down, but you can still buy PSP games through the Vita store and through the PS3 store if it ever loads. I don't know if you've tried to buy something through the PS3 store recently, but it takes several million years to load. And the PS Vita store isn't much better, but at least it loads in some speed. So technically you can still buy the games if you don't mind waiting for 200 years to buy them. But yeah, it's not great. Like, it's still Sony's perceived lack of care for game preservation. Like, it's still a problem. Like, you should really be able to do this through the web store. And the web store, as far as I know, only lets you get to PS5 and PS4 games. It should really let you get to all of them. Anyway, PSA, more or less, just to say that if you happen to still own a working PSP and you want to buy another game on it, you can't do it through the device that you have. You have to do it through the PS3 and the PS Vita, which you may not own. I was just thinking now, if I want to buy another game for this device, I can't use this device to buy it. I have to buy another device that isn't being sold anymore. No, sorry, they are still being sold. They're not being produced anymore. They've stopped making new PS3s and Vitas, so... Fuck, that's actually much worse than I thought it was. Anyway. Okay, so Nintendo can't even get $50 a month from Sue ROM site guy. So you may recall we looked at a story about this a while ago, where a guy called Matthew Storman had a ROM site up, which isn't exactly unique on the internet. There are tons and tons and tons of ROM sites. But what was unique about this one is that he was charging a subscription for it. Why anybody was paying it, I don't know, but whatever. But he got a cease and desist, and it was shut down, and Nintendo were awarded $2.1 million. Turns out he doesn't have $2.1 million. I'm shocked, really, since you shut down his means of income, basically. And he wasn't exactly getting a whole lot for it in the first place. But Nintendo have now put out another lawsuit to basically say he's not even paying the $50 that he agreed to pay in the first place. So it's here. Not only did defendant not address his violation of the court's order in the opposition, but he continues to ignore the order and has not yet made any payments to Nintendo. This failure to make even the modest $50 a month payment, an amount that he proposed and agreed to, demonstrates that Nintendo has no adequate remedy at law for defendant's past or future infringement, and underscores the need for a permanent injunction. This basically Nintendo going, look, you ordered us $2.1 million and we're not getting it, so give us money. And this is your man going, don't have any money. What do you want from me? I'm a fucking run a ROM site. I have nothing. This is mostly as a reaction to Storman also saying that, hey court, I know you awarded them $2.1 million, but maybe don't make me pay it, maybe, because I don't have it, please. Okay. All right, so Chris Avellone, a year after accusations of sexual misconduct, decides to file a libel lawsuit. So why so long? Why did you take so long, Chris? So his excuse for taking so long is that he was waiting to see if people would like try to correct the record, or maybe this was misguided self-righteousness or something, and they would retract their statements. Turns out it hasn't happened. Maybe because it wasn't misguided self-righteousness. Maybe it's because you did something, Chris. So last year, multiple women accused the veteran games writer of sexually inappropriate or predatory behavior, including deploying booze and his status to try and take advantage of younger women. Kind of heard this story before in a lot of other game companies. Seems like it might be a thing. Anyway. In his post a year later, Avellone claims that the interaction was consensual. Sorry, the interaction they're talking about is Carissa Bowers told Kotaku at the time that Avellone basically tried to get her drunk and then followed her back to her hotel room and then tried to take things further, and she said, fuck off. Yeah, so it's basically an allegement of sexual harassment and maybe non-consensual actions afterwards, but we don't know that. And Avellone basically saying 1 year later decides to say, that was a lie. Why didn't you say it at the time? Because he didn't say it at the time. It's in the article somewhere. Avellone did not respond for requests for comment last year. Some of his social media posts referenced the allegations. None of them directly addressed or refuted the claim. So he's taken a year to basically say, no, you. It's other news that year that Techland, so he was consulting for Techland for Dying Light 2, and they basically said, go away. We don't want to be associated with this, so please leave. So he lost that contract. Once again, he did not respond about anything like that. Carissa Barrow, Kotaku reached out to Carissa Barrows, and she says, I stand by my story and the stories of the other women who came forward. We told the truth, and I'm not at liberty to speak any further because there's a libel lawsuit about it, so I imagine her lawyer has said, shut up. Okay. It's unclear how successful Avallone's lawsuit will be in court. Most of the claims covered in its filings appear to be differences of opinions, so there's no concrete evidence or whatever about that kind of thing. There's a mention here about slap lawsuits, so if you're not familiar, I hate the scroll wheel, I really do. Slap lawsuits are basically when you take out a lawsuit to shut up the other person. Like, with no real intentions of going to court or anything, you're just going, throw a lawsuit at them, it'll force you to clam up, and you won't really have the legal fees to challenge it. So basically the story disappears from the public. Although why he's decided to wait an entire year for this, I don't know. Although he is filing in California, who have an anti-slap thing, which basically says if you don't actually proceed to court with it, you're fined. I think is the way it goes. I'm not sure. Anyway, he's in the news. Why he's decided to come back 1 year later, and it's kind of mentioned. It's mentioned in the comments and some of the tweets that it's strange that he's doing this, and it seems like it's more of a publicity thing. Like, I honestly don't get it. I don't know where he's going with this. Why did he take so long to come back? And it's really disappointing. Like, it's really disappointing when I heard the news in the first place, because he's worked on he did the writing for Planescape Torment and New Vegas, which are both like really good, and like their stories and plot are really good. And I was excited when he came on board for Dying Light 2, but then when these accusations came, I was like, fuck, really? Like, it's just really disappointing, and like, I really hope it's like, I don't understand why he waited a whole year to do this. Like, he's alleging like loss of revenue or whatever, but you would do that like immediately, right? It's strange. I don't know why he would do it 1 year later. It doesn't make sense. Okay, back to Humble Bundle. So Humble Bundle have been on in these videos a couple of times, and it's mostly because they're not being humble anymore. When they were bought by IGN's parent company, they changed a bunch of shit about how the charity split goes, and they were on this show and in the news. They were in these videos and in the wider game news a while ago, because they had prevented people from putting all the money to charity or all the money to developers. They had basically said you have to give Humble Bundle some money, which was very different to the way they were doing it before they were bought out. Then they sort of rode back on that because there was a big backlash about it, and they reintroduced presets. So it was like, do you want to give this amount to the developer, to the charity, to Humble Bundle, or a different split, or another different split, or whatever, a couple of different presets, and then buried way down through multiple clicks you could get back to the actual sliders, where you could decide exactly how much goes to which. But they're removing the sliders, or sorry, they're not removing they're not removing the sliders, but they are saying that Humble Bundle will get a minimum of 15 to 30%, depending on the bundle and depending on what it is you're buying. They'll get a minimum of 15 to 30%. So you can't basically do 100% to the charity or 100% to the developer, or even one. Although I think you can do 100% to Humble Bundle. You can still do that. We'll still take all your money. This is just really bad, and a really bad example, or a really good example rather, of a really great idea: sell games, raise money for charity, and then make a little bit so that you can keep working. That's it. You know, it's like a not-for-profit kind of thing. We'll make enough money so that we can keep the lights on and keep people paid. That's it. Like, we don't need to make a profit on this. Only to be bought by a company that clearly has more interest in profit, and they're going to, like, this 15 to 30% is just the start. Like, this will change. This will go up to 50%. This will go up to, no matter what you say, we're still going to get a cut in the background that we just won't tell you about. It's just really bad, and it's an example of how greed just fucking destroys some really good stuff. Anyway, so I was kind of two minds of adding this story, mostly because I have no idea who FaZe are. I assume they're like an esports thing, because I think I've heard the name before. I have no idea about it, but I mostly wanted to highlight it because it's an example of YouTubers and YouTuber influencers that you shouldn't trust, basically, ever. So FaZe kicks out one member and suspends 3 others over alleged influencer crypto scams. So basically, a bunch of FaZe clan members or whatever promoted a cryptocurrency token called Save the Kids, whose value plummeted soon after it launched. I'm shocked. This is a pretty standard crypto scam, and it's a pretty standard investment scam if you go back far enough, where you get a bunch of people to buy into it. Stocks, in that case, it would have been way back in the day, that you would pump a lot of money into a stock to massively inflate its price. then sell all of your stock, and when you do, the price, boom, drops massively. And it's basically pretty much this exact same thing that happened with this cryptocurrency. You could see it even with Dogecoin and Musk doing the same thing, you know, tweeting out to people to everybody buy Dogecoin, and then he sold all of his. Guess what? It fucking disappeared. The price just fucking dropped. So basically, this is a big shitty scam. FaZe, whoever they are, want nothing to do with it, and they let go a bunch of people. There are a bunch of videos about how YouTube influencers should just absolutely not ever be trusted. If they're selling you on something, they're making money on it. Like, it's the same deal of them not disclosing when something's an ad or a paid promotion or something like that. You know, you'll see it on Instagram a lot, or on TikTok sometimes, where they'll be like, I bought this new product and it's really great, and they're showing it, and it's perfect, and it's like, is this an ad? I kind of meant to say when it's an ad. And if you're not able to you know, separate that or distinguish the kind of the business side of an influencer versus the part of the influencer's product or whatever that has attracted you to them. Like, it's when you're listening to a podcast and you hear the podcast person read an ad out. Like, you can say that's an ad, they're doing that for the money, it's fine. We'll just wait and go back to the podcast. But when they do this in a way that it doesn't come across that way, it's like they're promoting it themselves, like it's a charity thing, like Save the Kids probably sounded like it was a charity thing. You think that they're an influencer and they have influenced you in whatever way, like you like to listen to their stuff, or you feel like you have the, what do they call it, the social, how is it, parasocial relationship thing, where like you feel like they're your friend even though they have no idea who you are. But it's that kind of thing. It's very easy to pull people in and then scam them for lots of money. Like, this crypto thing isn't new. There's gambling sites that do the same thing. They give they'll give influencers like a doctored site where they can, you know, do some gambling on it, and then suddenly they make tons of money on it. Hey guys, you should try this out too. Use my code fuckface22 to get free $5 when you sign up, and you'll make no money whatsoever, obviously, because it's been doctored for the video to make it look like they made lots of money. The Counter-Strike Go skins scam that was there a while ago, or scandal if you like, where a bunch of high-profile CSGO players would do the roulette wheel of buying different skins or different games or something like that. And again, that was found out to have been doctored in such a way that when they went on the site for that video, they would get some really good shit, and then they'd go, hey, use my code loves to spooge 45, and you know, you guys try it out, etc. Football Ultimate Team, EA's like FIFA thing, had the same issue. These are things that they're all over the place for influencers, and not all of them are going to be ethical. Not all of them are going to look at the money and go, oh boy, that's a lot of money, I really, really want it, I'm going to absolutely sell my fans down the fucking river so I can add a zero to my monthly income or whatever. Just, if it sounds like a scam, it's a scam. If it has the word cryptocurrency in it, it's a fucking scam. Basically. Anyway, I don't know if this is more of a PSA thing or whatever, but just reading it just really pissed me off. So, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't really fit in this video game industry thing. But they are esports guys, so I guess sorta it does anyway. Anyway, we'll finish with some dumb shit. So, you may have seen, or may not have seen if you're not following it. It is Pokemon released a video to kind of celebrate Bidoof Day. So they kind of do this for Pokemon Go celebrations, where they have a specific Pokemon and he spawns it, he, she, them, it spawns, I don't know. more often, so you can collect more of them and you can evolve them or whatever. It's like a whole celebration of whatever Pokemon it was. And they did one for all the Pokemon, and they did one for Bidoof recently. Only it was a little bit different because they actually did they did a sort of meme video homage to Never Gonna Give You Up, right? So they rickrolled a bunch of Pokemon fans in the video, and it's actually extremely well done. It's a really, really well done video. It's actually a great song, and it's super wholesome for Bidoof, the meme Pokemon. I'm not going to play the audio just because it's probably copyright because of Nintendo. Although, can you copyright a song when you're just covering it? I don't know, but I'm not gonna even check. So you guys can check that out yourself. There's a link to the article. It's really funny, and it's just really wholesome and nice about Bidoof. This Pokemon that's probably not that great if you've actually played with him, but still love him. Everybody loves Bidoof. Anyway, that was the news for 28th June to the 4th of July 2021. Let me know what you thought. As I said, I'll be looking to do Plague Tale Innocence LP. I'll probably do some recording of it this week, so the videos will be out the week after. Not a whole lot of super new releases or anything like that to look at, so I got some other games to play. I have fixed the games of March appearing in the latest thumbnails. It was not supposed to be there from last week, so nobody pointed it out, but I saw it, so that's fine. I have to fix it. I'm still working on that. I have finally got around to playing a bit of Yakuza Like a Dragon, and it's a lot of fun, so I'm going to play a bit more of that, so I have a bit more to say about it in the video, but hopefully I'll have the Game of March video out at some point, and then I'll have to think about what I'm actually going to do with that monthly video, because again, I don't really know what format I'm going to change for it. But anyway, that was the news video. Let me know what you guys thought, and we'll say goodbye to Bidoof, and I'll say goodbye to you. I'll see you next time.